Hello, hello, what is going on, YouTube friends? Phoenix61 here. We've got another Skull and Bones video, right? So if you're looking for helm materials, a lot of times you've got to plunder some of the more difficult forts, right? So we did do a plunder video on Fort Prakoso, which is one up here in the East Indies as well. That one is only a level 10, but I feel like that one is a little bit, I feel like that one's tougher, right? So, but this video we are going to, what is this, Fort Granbie or whatever? Yeah. So this one is an 11. So, you know, supposedly a little bit more difficult, but I think Prakoso is tougher, even though that's only labeled as a 10. Like, that one's got just way more defenses all the way around, and there's a lot more sort of places for ships to spawn too, because that's on like a standalone island, right? So we will sail over to Granbie here, right? Take a hard left and go, and we'll do our plunder in there, right? But yeah, I got razzed a little bit in the comments for our Fort Prakoso. I'm sure I'm saying that name wrong, but because, you know, we're plundering the hardest bases, but we're working our way up, right? We started at that one, right? So we're doing an 11. I got a 12 in the books, you know, here coming soon. So we'll deal with this rogue. And then we'll go through the loadout for the ship too at the end of the video. I'll show you guys kind of what I've been using, my plundering preferences, at least at the time of making this video. We did we did trigger, we are using the pyro ship, right? I always forget what it's called, but so yeah, we have a very flame centric loadout for this ship, right? So we're lighting other people ablaze when we set someone ablaze that is nearby, right? So that makes a huge difference for taking out a lot of the ship ads, as you'll see when we get underway here with this one. But yeah, these guys are, this faction's chasing us down here. So and then this is looks like a DMC fort, so then we'll have them mad at us too once we get in here. Yeah, look at so yeah, if you don't, you know, if you can see the status effect bubbles above that ship there, right? So if you don't have those, it's a setting, it's buried deep in the display options. So go and look for those, because those are super helpful, along with these, you know, you can see the arrow on the left side here too, showing you kind of where ships are in relation to you, as well as sort of what their status is with you, whether they're chasing you or fleeing you or attacking you, right? So those all become super helpful, and you can see sort of how much more work you need to do on the ship to set them ablaze and stuff like that. So super helpful setting. And we'll get underway with the plundering here for this first stage. It looks like we only need to get rid of this one ship, but I'm sure more will enter the ring, right? See what happens. And then the way I've got this ship, I don't do the crew attacks a lot. I don't really have a lot of crew attack buff, right? So you'll see me not do crew attacks quite a bit. And we do take some severe damage there, so that's not good right off the bat, right? And then even with these structures, right, you can see they do take a little bit more you know, fire damage to get them ablaze, but you can see that they do get triggered to get on fire too, right? So, and we have some of our furniture pieces are set up for things like, you know, I think most of those are for ships, right? But when you do trigger some things to be ablaze, other ships in the area will trigger to be ablaze, right? But it does look like some of these other things got, you know, we set an ablaze, the ablaze explosion. So it does look like for the structures, at least they do still have some progression for getting set ablaze, but they're not actually on fire and not taking damage, right? So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. Most of those perks apply to ships only, but it is kind of nice that it does help out a little bit. And then when we do have things ablaze, we do more damage to them as well. I think some of those perks also apply to ships, but you can see we're hitting those critical spots on the structures. And, you know, when you're soloing some of these more difficult forts, I highly recommend focusing on the structures you're going to get a lot of ships coming in, and you're going to have to deal with those. Yeah, you can see we triggered the ablaze effect there with that fiery explosion, right? Oh, we do have the wall on fire down here. Maybe it's just a matter of those other locations weren't, those other, you know, structures weren't close enough. I'm not sure, but either way, regardless, it's helpful. Light things on fire. Light things on fire and they die faster, right? So yeah, we're already on stage 2, stage 3 we're working through here. But yeah, the reason, you know, like this one's easy because, you know, like you've got this, there's this, you know, to our left on our port side, there's this like strip of island that forces any incoming ships to go around it. So you have this like almost defensive perimeter, right? So, but then, you know, as ships start coming in, obviously you're going to have to deal with them. If you let them build up too much, then they're going to overwhelm you, right? But the nice thing about this build is if they're in a group and you light one of them on fire, they're all going to get lit on fire, right? So we'll show you the build at the end of the video, like I said. But I think what, like for the most part with the fort is you don't have to wait until it's telling you that you need to like destroy a tower or destroy a wall or whatever. You can get rid of those as early as possible, and then that makes a huge difference, because then if you can get rid of that stuff, then literally all you have to worry about is the incoming ships, and it makes the plunder so much easier. And I think with this strategy, the plundering like actually gets easier as like the stages go on, as opposed to more difficult, which I think is like a little bit like backwards of like how it should be, you know. But I mean, in reality too, you're using repair kits, you're taking severe damage, you know, like we've got a little bit of severe damage here that we won't be able to do anything about, right, just because of the way we've got our ship loadout. But yeah, you'll see me trying to get rid of some of these structures, like these, the arrows or bullets, whatever these are that are coming out here, like those are brutal when they hit you. So getting rid of that or avoiding it altogether, you know, I do take the strategy of like trying to like stay on one side of the fort for most of the fight, right? So if they don't have line of sight on you, some of those towers and structures can't shoot you. So that's another good way to go as well. But yeah, so we'll deal with some of these ships just because there's so many of them at this point. Yep. But yeah, we've got some behind us too that aren't doing anything to us because there's that chunk of land in between there. So I feel like this is one of the easier forts. I would say this is like a level 9, but it's, you know, it says 11, right? But we do have a little bit more you know, ship tweaks that we've been working through as we've been playing the game, right? So I feel like I have my loadout for plundering versus going after ships versus, you know, other game activities, right? Which makes a lot of sense in this game. I think you're gonna find that you probably have like a ship that you use most of the time, but then for certain activities you're gonna want to get into a different one that's set up differently. So there's some perks to that. Yeah, we're getting a little bit too many ships here, 4 of them. But the nice thing is, look, yeah, we just lit them all on fire. I love that perk. That works so good. And then they're also taking more damage. We're getting a little low on health. Brace! The acceleration on this ship is non-existent. So like we like try to avoid that, and we're just not moving at all. Yeah, we do have our my one furniture piece that's keeping us alive when we get down on this low health realm is there is one out there that is as you get below like 20 or 30% health, you get some health regen, right? So that one I think is probably keeping us from dying when we're getting really low there, so that's making a big difference. And then the armor piece too, one of my favorites, is you take less damage when you're low on health as well. So we'll dive into both of those at the end of the video, right? But those are probably my key pieces that are keeping us going in this fight, right? And then yeah, we're gonna focus on these structures. The other thing too, so it's telling us we need to take out the wall portion right now, and you'll see me not shooting that, right? So I'm just gonna, like, you know, there's no ships here, so I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that there's no ships here and not trigger sort of the next phase or next wave. and just use this time to go after these other offensive structures that are on the base, right? So it's almost like we're getting free reign of, you know, just fighting just them, right? So again, another part of strategy that's super helpful, especially when you're if you're flying solo, right? If you don't get anybody to come and help you out. And then yeah, they're ablaze, so they're ideally taking more damage as we shoot them, or at minimum, at least they're on fire and taking damage over time, right? Yeah, so yeah, I need to, for this phase, I need to kill the wall, and I'm just kind of ignoring it. But it is like going down as we set these other structures ablaze. It looks like it's taking damage from the ablaze explosion, right? And then I have, I think I have for my Ox weapon, I'm rocking the mortar. And I've actually changed that up since I made this video, and I'm using the Termites 3. The rockets are they're harder to aim, but the Termites 3 just does wicked crazy damage to structures. So that's made a huge difference in the Plundering too. So I'm thinking I'm gonna have, you know, if I can get enough of the like equipment that I'm using, I'll probably have a ship that's like a ship type that's just dedicated to plundering, and use termites, the Termites 3 Ox weapon. But yeah, something needs to be done with how you aim that thing, and so that's why I had been just using the mortars so much more lately. And we're still hostile to that other faction. It's interesting. I haven't seen any other ships. Yeah, so now this wall piece is the last piece that we need to trigger the next phase. And so now there's literally nothing left. And then this land section is what I was talking about. Like, that's keeping, like, the ships are kind of forced to come, you know, from one side or the other when they're coming in. And that's just making this fort, like, a little bit easier. That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like this one, even though it's a level 11, it's been an easier plunder, at least by myself, right? Yeah, so we have nothing to worry about except for ships now. So this is going to make this not only go faster, but way easier too. Set them on fire! Yeah, I love this. This DPS ship is just, it's great. Like, you know, there's drawbacks to it, right? Like, you won't have as big of a health pool as some of the other medium tier ships. It's kind of slow and sluggish, right? But it lights people on fire real good. And then I do have fire long guns in the front. I like just having that versatility with, you know, kind of gives you the sniper rifles in the front, right? But I think if you really wanted to go all out, you could do the fire bombards all the way around. This ship too does have, you can kind of see it from the front, but it does have 2 cannon ports below deck on each side of the front, so you would get an extra, you know, if you were using like all deck weapons, you know, like any of the culverins or shotgun variants, right? Like, you would have quite a few more weapons coming out the front. But yeah, the long guns are considered only top gun, you know, top deck weapons, so you only get 2. But yeah, you could have 6 cannons basically coming out the front if you used an all deck weapon out there. Yeah, so that is another thing, like, you just kind of keep in mind and tweak. I'm so addicted to the fire bombards, and then, but yeah, it does feel like with the long guns in the front, it does feel like a little bit of a wasted space, since there's, you know, gun ports below deck that aren't being used there. Get rid of this guy. Set him ablaze. I feel like he's just like too big for me to do. This is like a terrible spot for crew boarding. Like, screw it, shoot him. Yeah, that early on severe damage had me a little bit nervous, but yeah, we plundered our way through. So now we'll be out of combat. I do think I have yeah, we'll have to wait for the factions to go neutral. But yeah, so you can see the severe damage. That red portion is going away slowly now. So we do have a furniture piece in there that, you know, if you really wanted to go extreme, you could, you know, you would put some other offensive furniture piece in there. But for my 5th furniture slot, I do have a piece that takes away that severe damage slowly after you're out of combat, right? So like if you're doing a plunder, you're going to be in combat the whole time, so it's kind of, you know, it's kind of useless until you're done, right? But yeah, that's just such a good like quality of life furniture piece to have, just because you know, especially if you're like one of those people that like forgets, like I forget all the time to repair my ship when I'm in port, you know. And so then you get out and you sail away and you've still got this severe damage, and so it's like super annoying, right? So we'll open up our silver chests. Those are getting kind of annoying that you can't open multiple at a time, right? So I'm hoping the developers fix that and you can open them, you know, all at once. But so yeah, I try to, like, if I'm sailing and I'm like trying to, like, you know, occupy my time, I'm going into my cargo and opening silver chests. And then, of course, you don't pay attention to, like, which direction you're headed, and you end up, like, you know, going completely off course, right? But so we'll dock at the nearest fast travel point here. And take a quick look at our plundering stuff. But, yeah, so we'll go, yeah, so this is the... I've named this one the Mr. Beaumont. It's a Friends reference, right? But so this is the so fire long guns in the front, and then this is the SAM book, right? So this is the you need pieces of 8 to buy this blueprint for this one, right? So you would get this from the helm manager, you know, the bar manager at the helm or by your distillery, right? And it's 5,000 pieces of 8 to get this, right? But all of the perks in here, the uniqueness of this ship has to do with lighting ships on fire, and so they'll take more damage when they're on fire. You'll be able to light them on fire faster, like that kind of thing. And then there's the big one is you'll get an ablaze explosion when you do set someone on fire. That will then trigger the ablaze effect on other ships. So it's just this like awesome chain reaction, you know, when you've got this going, right? So we'll go through the furniture pieces, but yeah, we've basically got long fire guns in the front, and then fire bombards all the way around. And then this is the one I was talking about, rigging station. So yeah, when your health is less than 20%, you'll get a 1% health per second increase, right? So it basically is some auto healing there. Once you get in trouble, right? And then everything else is pretty much fire-centric focused, right? And the bombards, right? Elemental damage multiplier bombards, since we're using those mostly, we upped that. This increases damage to enemy ships with the ablaze effect by another 10%. That's on top of, you know, the ship's perk. And then this is the one I was talking about. This is just kind of a nice quality of life furniture piece to have. Restores 1% of severe damage when you're out of combat, right? So pretty fun plundering event, and that's kind of how I've strategized plundering solo when you can't get anybody to come help you, right? So thank you guys so much for watching my video all the way through. Again, I am Phoenix61. Make sure to follow the channel. We're doing more. I do have plans for more Skull and Bones videos coming out in the future here, as well as, of course, we do a lot of World of Warships and occasionally play some Minecraft and Elite Dangerous, which is, you know, I would think a Skull and Bones comparison, but in space and maybe a lot more in depth, right? But yeah, thank you guys again for watching all the way through. Make sure to follow the channel. That does help me out quite a bit and also motivates me to continue working on this kind of stuff. So yeah, until next time, see you then.